Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying that life doesn't always make sense. There will be seasons where you won't see the path ahead, where doors close unexpectedly, and where questions outweigh the answers. But trust is not about understanding, it's about believing, even when the pieces don't fit together. Faith grows strongest in the soil of uncertainty. It's easy to have faith when everything is clear, when the path ahead is smooth, and when all the pieces of life seem to fit perfectly together. But that's not where real faith is built. Real faith is developed in the moments when you can't see what's next, when you don't have all the answers, and when life feels more like a question mark than an exclamation point. When everything is certain, faith isn't required. You don't need faith to believe in what's already in front of you. Faith becomes active when you step into the unknown, trusting that there's a purpose even when you can't understand it. Those moments of uncertainty, though uncomfortable, are the very moments that shake you, stretch you, and grow you into the person you're meant to be. It's in the middle of the unknown that you learn to trust, not in your circumstances, but in something greater than yourself. Think about it. When you plant a seed, it doesn't immediately sprout and bear fruit. First, it has to be buried in the soil, hidden in darkness, and left to grow beneath the surface where no one can see what's happening. The same is true for us. When we're in a season of uncertainty, it can feel like nothing is happening. It can feel like we've been forgotten or that our efforts aren't making any difference. But in those hidden moments, something incredible is taking place. Faith is taking root, growing deeper, preparing you for the fruit that will come in due season. Uncertainty teaches us to rely on something beyond our own understanding. It's natural to want to have control, to have everything planned out, and to know exactly how things will turn out. But life rarely works that way. Often, the more we try to control every detail, the more frustrated and anxious we become. Faith invites us to release that need for control and to trust that even when we don't know the way, there's still a way being made. It's a reminder that we don't have to have all the answers to move forward. We just need enough faith to take the next step. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the seasons where nothing seems to make sense. Maybe you're in a place right now where you're asking questions like, why did this happen? Or why hasn't this worked out yet? It's easy to feel discouraged when things aren't going according to plan. But remember, uncertainty is not a sign of failure. It's an invitation to trust. It's a reminder that you're not supposed to have it all figured out on your own. When you embrace the uncertainty, you open yourself up to possibilities you never would have imagined. Think about people who face great challenges or who've accomplished extraordinary things. Their stories often include moments of deep uncertainty, times when they couldn't see the outcome, yet they kept going. It wasn't their certainty that carried them, it was their faith. They believed that even when they couldn't see the full picture, something good was happening behind the scenes, and in time, their persistence paid off. Faith also gives you the strength to keep going when you feel like giving up. Uncertainty has a way of testing your resolve. It can make you doubt your abilities, your decisions, and even your purpose. But those moments are also opportunities to grow stronger. Every time you choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, you build a resilience that will carry you through even the toughest of times. It's not about ignoring the challenges, it's about facing them with the confidence that you don't have to face them alone. One of the most powerful things about faith is that it allows you to find peace even in the middle of uncertainty. When you trust that there's a plan, even if you don't fully understand it, you can let go of the anxiety that comes from trying to figure everything out. You can rest in the knowledge that you're exactly where you're meant to be, even if the road ahead isn't clear. That kind of peace doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting the process, even when it doesn't make sense. Uncertainty isn't something to fear. It's something to send those. It's in moments that you have the chance to grow, to deepen your faith, and to discover strengths you didn't know you had. The soil of uncertainty may feel uncomfortable, but it's the very place where faith takes root, grows deep, and begins to flourish. It's where you learn that you don't have to have all the answers to move forward. You just need the courage to take the next step, trusting that the path will unfold as it's meant to. Trusting in the unseen brings peace beyond understanding. Life often confronts us with situations where the answers aren't obvious, where the road ahead seems unclear, and where we feel powerless to make sense of what's happening. In those moments, the natural response is often fear, worry, or even frustration. We want to see, to know, to have certainty about how things will turn out. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting in what you can't see and believing that there's a purpose, even when it's not immediately apparent. There's a profound strength in surrendering the need to figure everything out. When you trust in the unseen, you shift your focus away from the chaos around you and place it on something greater. That shift doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending the difficulties don't exist. It means choosing to believe that there's a plan at work, even if you can't see it yet. It's about leaning into faith instead of letting fear take over. Fear thrives in uncertainty, but trust has the power to silence it. When you place your confidence in the unseen, you invite a peace that goes beyond logic, beyond circumstances, and beyond what the world can offer. Sometimes life feels like walking through a dense fog. You can only see a few steps ahead, and the rest of the path is hidden. It's in those moments that trust becomes essential. You may not know what's beyond the fog, but you don't have to. Trust is knowing that there's a way forward even when you can't see it. It's taking that next step not because you have all the answers, but because you believe that the answers will reveal themselves in due time. That kind of trust doesn't eliminate the uncertainty, but it does eliminate the anxiety that often comes with it. It allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you're being guided even in the unseen. Trusting in the unseen also teaches you to let go of the need for control. We often think that peace comes from having everything planned out and under control. But the reality is, no matter how much we plan, life has a way of surprising us. Unexpected changes, challenges, and detours are inevitable. When you trust in the unseen, you realize that you don't have to control everything to find peace. You don't have to know how every detail will work out. Instead, you can release the burden of control and rest in the assurance that there's a greater plan unfolding, even if you can't see all the pieces. There's freedom in trusting what you can't see because it removes the pressure to have everything figured out. When you're constantly trying to solve every problem and anticipate every outcome, it can be exhausting. But when you choose to trust, you're able to let go of that weight. You can stop striving, stop overthinking, and stop worrying about what's beyond your control. Trusting in the unseen allows you to focus on the present moment, knowing that the future is in good hands. It's not about being passive or ignoring responsibilities. It's about recognizing that some things are simply beyond your understanding and being okay with that. One of the most beautiful things about trusting in the unseen is how it transforms your perspective. When you trust, you begin to see the challenges in life differently. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, you start to see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. You realize that even in the midst of difficulty, there's something to be gained, something to be learned. Trusting in the unseen helps you to recognize that life is not a random series of events, but a carefully woven tapestry where even the hard times have a purpose. That shift in perspective brings a peace that isn't dependent on circumstances. This kind of peace isn't something the world can give because it doesn't come from external circumstances. It's a peace that comes from within, from the confidence that you're being guided and cared for, even in the unseen. It's a peace that allows you to remain calm in the storm, to keep moving forward when the path isn't clear, and to face uncertainty with courage and hope. That peace isn't based on what you can see or understand. It's based on the trust that there's a purpose greater than you can imagine. Trusting in the unseen also allows you to embrace the mystery of life. Not everything is meant to be understood right away, and that's okay. Some answers only become clear with time, and some things we may never fully understand. But when you trust, you don't need to have all the answers. You can rest in the knowledge that there's a reason, even if you can't see it yet. That kind of trust doesn't just bring peace, it also brings a sense of wonder and hope. It reminds you that there's more to life than what you can see and that the unseen holds incredible possibilities. God's delays are not his denials, there's a bigger picture unfolding. When we face delays in life, it's easy to feel forgotten, overlooked, or even abandoned. We pray, we work hard, we do everything we know to do. The breakthrough we're hoping for doesn't come. The door doesn't open, the opportunity doesn't appear, the situation doesn't change. In those moments, it's tempting to believe that the delay means we've been denied, that our dreams or desires will never come to pass. But the truth is, delays often serve a greater purpose that we can't yet see. Sometimes the delay is about preparation. It's not that the answer isn't coming, it's that we're not ready for it yet. There are times when what we're asking for is bigger than what we can handle in the moment. We might think we're ready, but there are lessons we need to learn, character we need to develop, or experiences we need to gain before we step into what's ahead. The delay is not a punishment. It's a period of preparation. It's a time when we're being shaped and molded so that when the opportunity comes, we'll be able to step into it with confidence and success. Delays also test our trust and strengthen our faith. It's one thing to believe when everything happens quickly and effortlessly, but it's another thing entirely to keep believing when the answer seems far away. In those seasons of waiting, our faith is refined. We learn to rely on something greater than ourselves, to trust that there's a plan even when we can't see it. That kind of trust isn't always easy, but it's in those moments that our faith grows deeper and more resilient. The waiting season becomes a time of growth, a time when we learn to depend not on our own understanding, but on a higher purpose. Another reason for the delay could be timing. Timing is everything, and what might seem like a delay to us is often perfect timing from a higher perspective. There's a specific moment when everything aligns, when the pieces fall into place, and when the answer arrives in a way that's better than we could have imagined. If we receive something too soon, we might not appreciate it or handle it the way we should. But when it comes at the right time, it feels effortless, natural, and exactly as it was meant to be. The delay is not a denial, it's an opportunity for everything to come together in the right way and at the right time. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually protection. We may be eager to move forward, but there could be obstacles or challenges ahead that we can't see. The delay might be preventing us from stepping into a situation that would harm us or derail our progress. What we see as a roadblock is often a safeguard. It's a way of redirecting us towards something better, something we wouldn't have chosen if we weren't forced to wait. In hindsight, we often realize that the delay wasn't a setback, it was a blessing in disguise. Delays also give us perspective. When we're waiting for something, it's easy to focus solely on what we don't have, on what hasn't happened yet. But delays give us the chance to look around and appreciate what we do have. They remind us to be present in the moment, to find gratitude in the here and now, and to recognize the blessings that are already in our lives. Waiting doesn't have to be a season of frustration. It can be a season of reflection, growth, and gratitude. It's an opportunity to develop patience, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for the journey. The waiting period also helps us distinguish between what we truly want and what we think we want. Sometimes we're so focused on a specific outcome that we don't consider whether it's truly the best thing for us. The delay gives us time to think, to pray, to gain clarity. It allows us to let go of what isn't meant for us and to align our desires with a greater purpose. When the answer finally comes, we can be confident that it's not only what we wanted, but also what we truly needed. It's important to remember that delays are not wasted time. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, there's always something going on behind the scenes. Pieces are moving, circumstances are shifting, and the foundation is being laid for what's to come. Just because we can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not there. Sometimes the most significant work happens in the unseen, in the moments when we feel like we're standing still. The delay is not a sign of inaction, it's a sign that something greater is being prepared. Every delay has a purpose, even if we don't understand it in the moment. It's an opportunity to trust, to grow, and to prepare for what's ahead. The waiting season is not a wasted season. It's a vital part of the journey, one that shapes us, strengthens us, and ultimately leads us to something better than we could have imagined. What feels like a delay is often the very thing that's setting us up for the breakthrough we've been waiting for. Every setback is a setup for something greater. When life throws unexpected challenges our way, it's easy to feel defeated. We work hard, we make plans, and yet things don't go as we hoped. A door closes, an opportunity falls through, or a relationship ends, and we find ourselves wondering why. It can feel like life is against us, like the setback is a signal that we failed or that we're moving in the wrong direction. But what if that very setback was a necessary part of the journey towards something better? What if the disappointment was actually preparing us for something greater than we could have imagined? Setbacks often serve a purpose beyond what we can see in the moment. They can redirect us, teaching us to let go of what isn't meant for us and to trust in the greater plan. It's natural to cling to what feels safe or familiar, but sometimes the very thing we're holding on to isn't what's best for us. A setback can be the nudge we need to move in a new direction, one that we wouldn't have chosen on our own. It might not make sense at first, but in time we begin to see how the pieces fit together and how that detour was exactly what we needed to reach a better destination. Setbacks also build resilience. When everything comes easily, we don't develop the strength or determination we need to handle life's bigger challenges. It's in the moments of difficulty that we learn what we're truly capable of. We discover a strength within us that we didn't know we had, a perseverance that keeps us moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against us. That resilience not only helps us overcome the immediate challenge, but also prepares us for the opportunities and responsibilities that lie ahead. What feels like a step back is often the very thing that propels us forward with greater clarity, purpose, and strength. Sometimes a setback is about timing. We might be ready for something, but the circumstances around us aren't ready yet. The delay or obstacle isn't there to stop us. It's there to align everything in the right way and at the right time. When the timing is right, doors open effortlessly. Opportunities appear, and things fall into place in a way that feels natural and meant to be. What seemed like a setback was actually a setup, a way of ensuring that everything comes together in the best possible way. It's a reminder that patience is often just as important as perseverance. Setbacks can also be opportunities for growth. They push us out of our comfort zones and challenge us to think creatively, to find solutions, and to approach life from a new perspective. When things don't go as planned, we're forced to learn, and to grow in ways we wouldn't have otherwise. That growth is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. It's what equips us to handle the next chapter of our lives with wisdom, courage, and confidence. Every setback, no matter how difficult, holds within it the seeds of growth and transformation. In some cases, setbacks protect us. We might be headed towards something that isn't right for us, something that could cause harm or lead us away from our true purpose. The closed door, the unexpected challenge might be the very thing that keeps us from stepping into a situation that isn't meant for us. What feels like rejection is often redirection. It's a way of guiding us towards something better, even if we can't see it at the time. In hindsight, we often realize that the setback wasn't a loss. It was a blessing in disguise. Setbacks also teach us to trust in the process. When we face obstacles, it's easy to get discouraged and lose sight of the bigger picture. But those challenges are often part of a larger plan, one that's working for our good, even when it doesn't feel like it. Trusting that there's a purpose in the pain allows us to face setbacks with hope and confidence. It reminds us that every challenge we encounter is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to prepare for what's next. The setback isn't the end of the story, it's just a chapter in a much greater narrative. Sometimes the greater purpose of a setback isn't revealed until much later. In the moment, all we see is the disappointment or the difficulty. But as time goes on, we begin to see how that setback positioned us for something we never could have planned on our own. We see how it prepared us, how it redirected us, and how it ultimately led to a breakthrough that wouldn't have been possible without it. The challenge that seemed insurmountable becomes the very thing that propels us to greater heights. Every setback carries with it an opportunity, a chance to grow, to trust, to persevere, and to align with a greater plan. It might not feel like it in the moment, but what seems like a step back is often a setup for something greater than we could have imagined. It's a reminder that even in the face of difficulty, there's always hope, always purpose, and always a way forward. The journey might not be easy, but it's worth it, and every step forward or backward is part of the process that leads to something extraordinary. Let go of control and let faith carry you. So much of our stress and anxiety comes from the need to control every detail of our lives. We plan, we prepare, and we do everything we can to make sure things go exactly as we expect. But no matter how carefully we map out our future, life has a way of surprising us. Unexpected detours, challenges, and changes can throw our plans into chaos, leaving us feeling frustrated, anxious, or even helpless. In those moments, the instinct to cling even tighter to control can feel overwhelming, but it's often the very thing that keeps us stuck. Letting go of control isn't about giving up or ignoring responsibilities. It's about recognizing that there are things in life that are simply beyond your ability to manage. It's about accepting that no matter how hard you try, you can't force everything to happen on your timeline or in your preferred way. Control might feel like safety, but it's an illusion. The more we try to control every detail, the more we create unnecessary stress for ourselves. When you let go of that need to micromanage every outcome, you allow room for faith to step in and carry you through the uncertainties of life. Letting go also means releasing the weight of trying to do everything on your own. When you feel like it's all up to you, the pressure can be suffocating. You might believe that if you work hard enough, think smart enough, or push long enough, you can make everything turn out exactly as planned. But carrying that kind of burden is exhausting, and it's not how you're meant to live. Letting faith carry you doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means doing your part and trusting that the rest will fall into place. It's about working hard while believing that there's a greater hand at work behind the scenes, aligning things for your good. One of the hardest parts of letting go is releasing your grip on how you think things should look. We all have visions of how we want our lives to unfold. And when reality doesn't match those expectations, it can feel like failure. But sometimes the plans we make for ourselves are far smaller than the plans that are waiting for us. By holding on too tightly to our own version of how things should be, we might miss the better, bigger opportunities that are just around the corner. Letting go of control allows you to remain open to possibilities that you never could have imagined. Letting go is also about finding freedom from the fear of uncertainty. It's natural to want to know what's ahead, to have a clear picture of the future, and to feel like you're in charge. But the truth is, life is full of unknowns, and no amount of control can eliminate that. Letting go means embracing the unknown with faith, Trusting that even if you can't see the whole picture, the next step will reveal itself in time. It's about walking forward, not because you know exactly where the path will lead, but because you trust that the path is leading somewhere good. When you let go of control, you make space for peace. Control often brings with it worry and frustration, because the more you try to manage everything, the more you realize how much is outside your control. That constant striving, that constant need to manage every detail robs you of the peace that comes from trusting. Faith replaces worry with assurance, not because all the answers are clear, but because you know you don't have to have all the answers. You can rest in the confidence that things are unfolding as they're meant to, even if it doesn't look like it in the moment. Letting go also helps you focus on what you can control. So much of our energy is spent trying to manage things that are completely outside our power, other people's decisions, the timing of events, or the outcomes of situations. When you let go of those things, you can redirect your energy to what truly matters, your attitude, your effort, and your perspective. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them. Letting go frees you to focus on what's within your reach, allowing you to make the most of every moment without being consumed by what's beyond your grasp. Trusting faith to carry you is also about understanding that setbacks and challenges are not the end of the story. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to feel like you've lost control, but that's often when the most growth and transformation occur. Letting go allows you to see those moments not as failures, but as opportunities to learn, to grow, and to be redirected towards something even better. It's about trusting that even in the struggle, there's a purpose, and that purpose is leading you to a place of greater fulfillment and joy. Letting go of control doesn't mean letting go of hope. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about placing your hope in something greater than your circumstances. It's about believing that even when things don't make sense, there's a reason, and that reason is for your ultimate good. Faith gives you the courage to let go of what you can't change and the strength to face whatever comes your way. It's a reminder that you don't have to have all the answers or control every outcome to move forward. You just have to trust that you're being carried step by step toward a future that's brighter than you can imagine. The reward for trusting is always greater than the cost of waiting. Trusting in what you cannot see, believing in a plan that hasn't yet unfolded, and holding on to hope when circumstances don't align, these are not easy things to do. It requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to endure seasons of uncertainty. Yet those who choose to trust find that the rewards far outweigh the challenges of waiting. While the cost of waiting might feel heavy in the moment, the outcome of unwavering trust brings blessings, peace, and fulfillment that far surpass anything you could imagine. When you're in the waiting period, it often feels like nothing is happening. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and sometimes even years, and the promise you're holding on to still hasn't materialized. It's easy to grow weary, to question whether it's worth it, and to feel tempted to settle for less than what you hoped for. But trust reminds you that waiting isn't wasted time. During these periods, unseen things are happening. Growth is taking place within you. The circumstances around you are aligning. The pieces of the puzzle are being arranged so that when the promise arrives, it's in the perfect form at the perfect time. The cost of waiting can feel isolating. When everyone around you seems to be moving forward while you feel stuck, it's natural to feel left behind. But the truth is, the waiting season is not a sign of stagnation, it's a sign of preparation. It's during these times that you build the strength and resilience you'll need for the next chapter. The reward for trusting comes when you look back and realize that what you thought was a delay was actually a period of deep transformation. The waiting season may feel quiet, but it's where the most profound work takes place. The roots grow deep, the foundation becomes strong, and you're prepared for the weight of the blessing that's to come. Trusting also stretches your faith, helping you grow in ways you didn't think possible. Faith is like a muscle. It grows stronger through use. The more you exercise it during the waiting periods, the more it develops. Each time you choose to trust instead of worry, to hope instead of despair, you're building a faith that can weather any storm. And when the reward finally comes, you're able to appreciate it on a deeper level because you know what it took to get there. The cost of waiting refines you, shaping you into someone who's ready not just to receive the promise, but to steward it well. One of the greatest challenges of waiting is the uncertainty. Not knowing when or even if the promise will come can be deeply unsettling. But the reward of trust is that it shifts your focus from the uncertainty to the assurance that there's a greater plan at work. Trust allows you to rest even when the answers aren't clear. It gives you the peace of knowing that you're not alone in the journey and that every delay has a purpose. That kind of peace is priceless, and it's one of the most significant rewards of trusting through the waiting. Another reward for trusting is the alignment it brings. When you're willing to wait and trust, you allow things to unfold in their natural time instead of forcing them to fit into your timeline. There's a difference between something that's rushed and something that's ready. When you trust, you position yourself to receive something that's not just good but best. The timing aligns, the circumstances align, and you find yourself stepping into something far better than you could have orchestrated on your own. That kind of alignment doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of choosing to trust, even when it's hard. Waiting also reveals what truly matters. In the process of waiting, you often discover that the thing you thought you wanted wasn't the real reward after all. Sometimes the most valuable outcome of trusting is the person you become in the process. The growth, the lessons, the character you develop, these are rewards that no material blessing can replace. When you look back, you realize that the waiting period wasn't just about reaching the destination, it was about the journey and the transformation that happened along the way. The reward of trusting often comes in ways you don't expect. What you receive might not look exactly like what you envisioned, but it will be exactly what you need. The reward may come as peace, as clarity, as an open door, or as a completely new direction you never anticipated. Whatever form it takes, it's always greater than what you could have imagined on your own. The cost of waiting may feel significant in the moment, but the reward far exceeds it in value, leaving you grateful for every step of the journey. Trusting isn't easy, but it's always worth it. The waiting period may test your patience, challenge your resolve, and stretch your faith, but the reward for holding on is a fulfillment that surpasses the struggle. The reward is a deeper faith, a stronger character, and a life aligned with a purpose far greater than your own. It's the assurance that the waiting wasn't in vain and that the outcome is more beautiful, more impactful, and more meaningful than anything you could have planned. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on the journey of trusting when we don't understand, let us remember that faith is not about having all the answers, but about believing in the presence of a greater plan, even amidst of uncertainty. Challenges may arise, setbacks may test us, and waiting may stretch our patience, but every step is part of a purposeful path leading us to something greater. Trusting when life doesn't make sense is not weakness, it's strength. It's a declaration that we believe in the unseen, that we are willing to let go of control and surrender to something bigger than ourselves. It's about standing firm in the face of doubt, holding on to hope when circumstances seem bleak, and knowing deep in our hearts that there is always a reason, always a purpose, and always a reward for trusting the process. No matter what season you are in, no matter how unclear the path may seem, hold on to the assurance that your journey is not random and your struggles are not in vain. Every delay is a preparation, every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and every act of trust brings you closer to the incredible things waiting ahead. So walk forward boldly, even when you can't see the way, and trust that your faith will carry you to the extraordinary future that has been prepared for you.